Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the SMG 08. This is a weapon that's been in the game since the Russian DLC, but has gone through substantial changes in the latest patch. In fact, you may as well call it a complete overhaul of this weapon. What you used to know as the SMG 08 is dead and gone, and the new SMG 08 is a contender for one of the best guns that the Assault can get. It's an absolute beast with an 80 round box magazine, 770 round per minute rate of fire, out damaging the Hellrigel, decent hipfire accuracy. This thing is an absolute powerhouse in close quarter combat and can take out entire squads of enemies before you need to reload. In fact, this new update to the weapon further solidifies the fact that the Russian DLC has really brought us some of the best guns in Battlefield 1. If there was one DLC to pick up for this game for the guns alone, the Russian DLC is where it's at. Now, the Assault class has never been a class that's been weak on the damage output or the effective close quarter weapons. The Automatico has reigned supreme on PC. The Hellrigel has been a staple in the console environment. These have been some of the best go-to assault weapons. And if you like shotguns, the Model 10A Hunter has been one of the most effective shotguns just in a Battlefield game to date. Absolutely devastating weapons for the Assault class, and all of a sudden the SMG 08 gets a massive buff, and it can now outdamage the Hellrigel, and in fact it does more damage per second than the Automatico does as well. Sure, it doesn't have quite as good hipfire, but it has good enough hipfire. I really don't have to aim down sight too much in close quarter combat. This is a very, very effective shooting from the hip weapon, 80 round box mag, and outdamages its competitors. I think DICE might actually messed up a little bit when balancing this weapon. I'm enjoying it right now. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a nerf coming in the near future. Now, of course, you can't just pick the SMG 08, hop into a game of Sinai Desert, and expect to dominate. There's an engagement distance sweet spot for this weapon, and that's extremely close quarters. Your biggest threats are going to be the Automatico and shotgun. In fact, the shotgun was one of the few weapons that would stop me when I was on a kill spree, because that can take me out in one shot, where I still need to put 4 rounds into my opponent with this weapon. It does 28 damage maximum. And as soon as you start to extend that range a bit further, there's enough recoil here that it makes it very hard to land your shots consistently. Also, the damage drop off is pretty steep, so as soon as you start pushing past around 10 meters, your damage basically goes off of a cliff. So it's obviously not designed for a long range or even medium range. If I engage a target at medium range, it's usually when their back is turned to me. In a straight up firefight, you want to try and flank or lure your opponent in closer. If you're playing on a map that does not have a lot of good flanking options or forces you to engage at medium range combat, this is going to feel like a really bad weapon choice, and you're not going to enjoy it. Picking the right map for the right weapon is probably one of the biggest things that's changed with the Battlefield 1 franchise as opposed to other Battlefield games. Usually you could just pick your favorite gun, hop into whatever server you wanted, and do pretty well with that weapon. Not in Battlefield 1, the weapons have been really relegated to very specific engagement distances, meaning you have to be a bit smarter with your weapon choice. So despite this being, in my opinion, one of the best new weapons for the Assault class, it's not something that you can use in all circumstances. Now, maps here like Nivelle Nights with a trench network that you can take advantage of and force the engagement range, that's going to be ideal. A lot of the new maps actually on the Apocalypse DLC offer vast trench networks that go across the entire map. That's going to allow you to close the engagement distance. This is an excellent trench warfare weapon. Don't just stick to the trenches though. Feel free to pop out on top, get the flank on your opponent. This is not a weapon that just because it has so much ammo and good damage per second means that you should always engage head on with your opponent. If you want to take out an entire squad, make sure you're taking advantage of the flanks whenever possible. Now, there's still 2 variations of the SMG 08. We've got the factory and then the optical. The factory recovers from spread faster, so basically it's better for burst firing or killing one opponent, stop firing, and then shooting the next opponent. I prefer the factory model. The optical variant has slightly better accuracy, obviously when aiming down sights, but it does have a little bit more first shot recoil and it doesn't recover quite as fast. I think that the factory is perfectly fine for 99% of your engagement situations because you're going to be shooting from the hip most of the time anyway. Still, I recommend trying out both versions. You might really prefer the optical sights over the iron sights on this weapon, but I think the irons on this gun are definitely easy to use, especially for the engagement distances you're expecting to be fighting at. Now, as much fun as this weapon is to use, I think one of my problems is that it's just too easy to use. Hipfire is incredibly easy. You basically just hold mouse button 1 and wait for your opponent to die. Not a lot of need for the recoil control here unless you're trying to push it out to medium range, which can be a little bit tricky, but again, it's not one of the strong suits of this gun to begin with. So I feel like it's just a little too easy for how much power it is right now. And that has been a problem for most of the assault weapons in Battlefield 1. The hipfire effectiveness and accuracy has been so insane that there's not much point in aiming down sights, controlling recoil, weapon manipulation, and footwork and stuff like that while you're shooting. You just kind of move around quickly and hold mouse button 1. It's very much reduced the skill needed to win a firefight in this game. And sure, that was a problem before the SMG-08. I just feel like the SMG-08 really exemplifies that issue in Battlefield 1. Teaches you that it's not that important to aim for the head, just aim for general mass, hold mouse button 1, and you're good to go. Comparing this gun to the skill needed to operate some of the medic weapons effectively is like night and day. It's almost disappointing when you think about having a really good game with a medic using some of those difficult to use 5-round medic rifles that can only kill one person between the reloads, and you're really struggling the whole round and you do well and you're proud of it, and then you pick up the SMG-08 and you're like, oh, okay, let me just run around aimlessly and hold mouse button 1. Oh, look at that, top of the server. I mean, that's just kind of how I feel when comparing playing this class with this weapon to the medic class with some of the 5 or 6 round weapons. It's like night and day difference in terms of the skill required and the points generated. Anyway, all that being said, there's still a lot of tips that can make you even more effective with the SMG-08. As much fun as it is to go head on with your opponents and beat them in a straight DPS firefight, or rely on your superior aiming skill or your superior peeking skill to win a firefight, that's only going to win you the 1v1. If they got a teammate up behind them, you might be too hurt, too damaged, or just not prepared to deal with follow-up threats. Despite you having an 80-round box magazine, you can't chew through all of your ammo at once. This weapon will overheat. That's one drawback to it, is you can't just jump into 5 guys and hold mouse button 1 and expect to kill all of them. You're going to overheat this gun, so be prepared for that a little. You can back off in between kills if you need to, and just be a little bit more conscious. So you're always going to want to be able to flank and engage your opponents, and preferably win a firefight without taking any return fire. That's the ideal situation, so that you can engage the next opponent. On Nivelle nights, I had to be especially careful when entering this big open area out here, as it's going to extend my engagement distance. So stay near craters, stay near ridges that can allow you to jump behind cover quickly, force your opponent to come in closer to you if you're going to engage them. Basically, terrain with a lot of hills and holes gives you a tactical option to reduce that engagement distance. Footstep sounds have actually become more prominent in Battlefield 1 since the patches, since the launch of the game, so you can hear footstep sounds more pronounced now. Always be aware of it. If you think it's a teammate and you hear footsteps near you, check that mini-map just to clarify that it is in fact a teammate. And even if you still think it's a teammate, do a double check. You know, it never hurts to do a 360 look around you, see if anybody's sneaking up behind you. In this clip here, I've figured out where the general mass of the enemy is. I figured out what direction they're fighting, and I've decided to just come up behind them. You can see most of the targets I'm engaging here are completely unaware of me, and I start shooting them in the back. If there's any return fire, it's simply because I haven't killed them fast enough. And what's interesting about this map is that it can actually be quite a good map for machine gunners and snipers if you just position yourself at the further ranged engagements. But since I'm the assault class, I play it differently. I come around for flanks, get in close quarters, and that's where I get the kills. Suffice to say, absolutely dominated on this map and basically every other map that was close quarter and infantry oriented with the SMG-08. Try out this gun if you haven't since the most recent update. It'll blow your mind. It's incredibly good. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.